Hello BookTube! I'm here today with a review for Dennis and Greer, a love story, which has been edited by Molly Gould. So this is a series of real letters that were written between Dennis and his wife Greer during the Vietnam War, and Molly Gould is Greer's daughter, and after her mother's death she was rummaging through her things and she found these letters and she thought that they deserved to be shared. So she compiled them into this book, and she reached out to me and she asked if I would be interested in receiving a copy in exchange for an honest review, and I said yes. And just as a disclaimer, all of these opinions and things are entirely my own, and I am not being paid to say any of it, but I'm sure you know that already, but I just wanted to throw that back out there. This book starts off with Greer basically reaching out to Dennis and making the first move, and the first thing that I noticed immediately is that letter writing has very different content than emails or texts do, and obviously you think, well, duh, but particularly because there's the time lag that letters take for the recipient to see the letter. You have to be a lot more upfront and direct and include a lot more things, because you can't just go back and forth and have a conversation like you can through email or text. So Greer kind of wears her heart on her sleeve and comes right all out, and Dennis reciprocates her feelings, and then they kind of become an item. And that's something that you would never really see with modern texting, so I kind of that was a little interesting observation that I made that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't read this. And I will be honest, at first it took me a little while to get into, because I was thinking, because at first they are very passionate and idealistic, and they're quite young. They're early teens, or late teens, early 20s, and Dennis in particular, he's very passionate. He's one of those leap before you look kind of people, and so I was thinking oh, this is just puppy love. I'm reading about some emotional teenagers, but you can really tell from the quality of their letters how their love grows and deepens for each other, and how it really matures, and how they really begin to know each other much better. And so that all the way by the end of the book, near the end, in one of the Dennis writes this, and just for some context, earlier on, Greer, she's a little bit of a pessimist, and she's kind of realistic, and she says things like, oh, we don't have a lot of money, and, stuff like that, yada, 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 and Dennis early on was very often frustrated by this. He was like, why can't you be as much in love with me as I am with you? And she would say, but we don't have enough money to get married yet. And he would say it wouldn't matter. But then by the end, this is on page 203, he says, I love you, Greer, so deeply, because you are such an individual, and because you bravely remain yourself and won't dilute your soul with other people's ideals if they are not yours. I see in you an unconquerable soul, an ego that almost destroys you at times in its struggle to remain independent. Right or wrong, you stand for what you are. And I think that's just beautiful, and it's one of the most beautiful things I've read, from a nonfiction or fiction book, period. And so they really gain this sense of maturity and this actual deep appreciation and self-awareness of each other, that I thought was really beautiful. And you really get to see the subtleties in their relationship grow, because this is over a series, a couple of years, so you get to see the way they go from being sort of hotly in love to having this quiet, more constant state of love. The strength of this book is that even though it is a compilation of letters, it really does read like a novel, because it has a similar format, and that's just due to the coincidence of their lives. It has the build-up, it has the climax, it has the closure of final ending, and so that's why it reads particularly well and is particularly compelling. And also too because the letters themselves are interesting, and both Greer and Dennis are readers, and they have lots of literary references and copy poems for each other, and uh, the book that I was sort of constantly being reminded of as I was reading this is Dear John by Nicholas Sparks, and I hate to mention it in this video because this book is so much better than Dear John, but Dear John was also about a soldier and his girlfriend writing back and forth to each other, and whereas Dear John is basically just kind of like a blend of all this like sort of romantic gibberish, and I think, you know, like real romance is unique to each couple and individual because like no two people are the same, and so when they're together, like the way that they fit together is so unique, so you have to so it can't be written the same way each time, and Nicholas Sparks writes his romances the same way each time, and that's why I appreciated this, because I don't normally read romance, but I really did like this. And I hate to give any book I hate to give any book a stars rating if it's someone's real life, but I would probably give it about 4 stars, but I'm just going to leave it blank on Goodreads. So yeah, I really appreciated this, and thank you, Molly Gould, for giving me this copy. And I will leave the link down in the description box for anyone who's interested in looking it up on Goodreads or on Amazon or anything like that. Check it out. I think if you're a writer, you'll particularly really enjoy this book because it gives a lot of inspirational material, and it really shows the way that like relationships grow subtly and over time. And I think it would be a good study of that, of how to write stuff like that. If any of your characters are writing, have any correspondence or anything like that. So, and I know there's quite a few writers on BookTube, so if you feel that way, feel free to check this out. Alright, I know I've been gone from BookTube for a while, but that hasn't been intentional. I haven't forgotten. I still definitely want to be a part of BookTube and everything. I've just been really busy with personal stuff and everything, but yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you all next time. Doei!